I'm Tenna Florian, a partner at Lake Plato Architects. We're a firm of about 150 people now. We have two offices. The flagship office is in San Antonio, Texas, and then we have a smaller office in Austin, Texas. Well, we've always described the culture as a bit of a family. It's a fun place to be. We have a new office in San Antonio. We renovated our existing office, so we now have this incredible outdoor gathering space that really speaks to our work as architects. Our work's always about connecting people to nature and place, and we now have this outdoor space that's been really fun. We have weekly markets there, and we make a big market lunch for everybody, and just try and find more and more opportunities to gather, because since we chose to renovate our office during the pandemic, we've actually haven't been gathering as much for the last 2 or 3 years. So this new office is really an incredible opportunity to re-engage with everyone and our new staff and bring back that strong culture that Lake Plato really always has had. For years we've said we've hired generalists and really people that have strengths that are quite broad. Obviously we're looking at strong design work, but sustainability has always been important in our work. So trying to really have candidates that have a strong sense of the purpose of architecture beyond just design and how it relates to the communities in which we serve. I think it's great that younger candidates are demanding more work-life balance. Our profession has been one of just imbalance for a really long time, starting in architecture school. And hopefully that's changing in architecture school as well. I think it's important that if we're designing places that are healthy and we care about wellness, then we should care about the wellness of our staff. And that is important, and it always has been for Lake Plato. And I think the younger generation of candidates that really sort of separate work from the rest of their life, that's a healthy thing, and I encourage it. I think it's wonderful. It's good for me, it's good for everybody. Diversity is really important at Lake Plato. It was back in 2015, we had a strategic plan, and we talked about how diversity of experience and is important to our work, and diversity of thought, it leads to better design. So trying to bring in diverse voices from diverse backgrounds will only make us a better firm. And trying to, in our hiring practices, cast a broader net and really bring in some, people of color, more people of color in our workplace is really important. And trying to do that in a very strategic way and reaching out to historically black colleges is one of the things we've been doing recently, because unfortunately the application pool tends to not be too diverse. So we have to be proactive in actually trying to reach those populations and let them know that Lake Plato is a place where they're welcomed and where they can thrive. Yeah. I think when I started in architecture, mentorship was pretty ad hoc. It happened, but not in a deliberate way. So we've made an effort recently to be more deliberate about our mentorship. At Lake Plato, we have a guides program where every associate partner, and partner is teamed with at least one employee as a guide, and it's an employee that's outside of their studio. So it's not someone they would normally interact with daily. It allows for sort of cross-pollination between studios and for younger staff to have relationships with partners and more experienced staff that they normally wouldn't have on their projects. And we have those guides for 2 years, and then we rotate and you have a new guide every 2 years. Or I have 3 right now that are 2 are in Austin, 1's in San Antonio. And it's been really great because I've developed relationships with younger staff that I don't know that well. And then after the 2 years is up, continuing those relationships is important to me, and I think they appreciate it as well. Yeah, early on I answered your question that we look for generalists, and we have for a long time, but we're finding, especially as we grow, and I think with the changes in architecture that we're seeing, that focus on specialties is becoming more and more important. And we're realizing that having not just an office full of generalists doesn't always achieve what we want. We need specialists. We have 5 staff that are focused on sustainability right now. We have a director of design performance, we have director of technology, director of design technology, and we have 3 other staff in the design performance team. So that's been important. I think Lake Plato's really been a leader in terms of having that specialty within our office. And what we're looking at now is more the technology and even QA/QC specialty, CA specialty. We've always done everything. Every employee at Lake Plato usually does construction administration, but we're also finding that having that specialty is really important, and we're looking for more of that expertise, especially more experienced expertise when it comes to QA/QC, technology, and sustainability, and also as we expand into interior design and other disciplines. I think when you're looking for a more experienced candidate, it's really understanding the role they played on the projects they've worked on and the role they play as a mentor in their previous jobs, and how they can bring that experience and mentorship to our firm, because that's more and more important as we've hired more people, especially during the pandemic. Quite a few of them are straight out of school. So having more opportunities for higher level mentorship is really important to us at Lake Plato. And trying to figure that out from a hiring candidate is sometimes challenging. I think the interview process is really important in talking to previous people they worked with and understanding the role they could play more broadly throughout the office is important. And it's specific to each hire that we're looking for, but just trying to fully understand their experience and how they can plug into Lake Plato and really reinforce our culture is important. Lake Plato has always been a really wonderful place where people will stop what they're doing, and if you have a question, and take time to answer that question and develop leadership in that way, which once again is a little more ad hoc. But we realize now, as we're growing and really the next generation of leadership at Lake Plato, that we do need to be more deliberate about actual leadership development program and identifying potential leaders and building the skill sets needed to continue Lake Plato on into future generations. Looking for candidates that are coming straight out of school, we try and glean as much as we can from the resume and portfolio, how active they were in school beyond just their studio work, because that sort of engagement outside of in the community is really important to us, and looking for that in our candidates is important. Obviously, looking at the design work and the focus on sustainable design and understanding of architecture beyond just design and its impact on the community is important. And sometimes that's hard to glean from what we receive from candidates, but that's kind of what we're looking for, sort of a broad understanding of the impact of architecture on people's lives. Well, you know, it's funny, I say that if I were hired today, I wouldn't have been hired because my portfolio is not near as sexy as the portfolios we see today. So that's that aspect of it, being able to do really beautiful renderings and presentation work, that is a lot of work that young architects do at Lake Plato. I mean, we want them engaged in documentation and Revit and all of that, but a lot of it is the presentation skills as well. So it's not only the graphic presentation skills, but also being able to communicate well and communicate design well is important to what we do, and trying to understand that from what we see in the portfolio and then on into the interview is important. Trying to pick an office that really takes the time and resources to continue to grow, that allows you to continue to grow professionally, that's really important. And I think something that I found, and I did go work at a few different offices, that really stood out at Lake Plato was this environment where people would stop what they were doing if you had a question, and they would answer the question. This sincerity of wanting to teach and to learn and taking that time, I think is huge, and it's something that really makes Lake Plato stand apart.